Awesome. Cool. So welcome everyone to Verify and Release UX team meeting. Hey, we are no longer Verify and Release only. Package should be added somehow. By the way, I put some of the, I put a question into our Slack channel because I'm a little bit lost what to call ourselves. I love the old CI/CD, but we need to find a way. Maybe we just revert back to the old title, but it would be nice to find a shorter, sweet title for our team. So if anyone has any ideas, please share because we need to change it ASAP. Cool. As I was saying, Hayana seems to be a bit later, so she will join in a half part of the meeting. Looking into the agenda, some items are pretty empty, but let me go over them anyway and see maybe if anyone has any announcements to do. So starting from your stage group part, did anyone have anything interesting happening in your stage group recently that you want to share about? Maybe interesting workshops, processes, happenings. Vitika, how's your
process? But we were one earlier, right? We were at your stage group.
Yeah. Yeah, that's for a process. Yeah. Maybe a question to Vitika. How is your experience with the public feedback collection in the continuous integration? You want to share anything?
Sure. So I have started to take the feedback from the issue and I've started to put it on a mural board. And I'm trying a different approach, which I briefly discussed with Laurie in yesterday's meeting, which is I am trying to observe, like, within that feature, what are people, the rose, buds, and thorns that people have expressed their feedback as. And then what I'm doing is, of all the roses, buds, and thorns, I'm trying to form clusters with respect to different parts of the feature. So when we do that, we'll figure out like which is the most lovable part of the visualization and which is the most, okay, I'll use the word hated side of it. So, and this way we can prioritize it better so that we start with things which are receiving the worst reactions first, and then we can go slowly towards what's working better. And also we would have a good idea about what we did right in the ones that that's getting a good feedback. So I'm yet to discuss that with Tao. Our yesterday's meeting didn't get through, but I'm trying to speak to her async about all of those topics.
Awesome. Is it more feedback than you would expect to receive? Is it like a lot of information coming in, or?
It's still coming in. I mean, I still get mails that people are dropping in their comments. They're a little brutal in how they're wording it.
Can imagine. People are mean sometimes. Cool. All right. Well, that sounds good. If there is anything that we can help with, let us know. But
sure.
Ian, over to you.
So this milestone, because I haven't been here for a while, we just started converting all of our designs from the old system into Figma, and it's been really cool. And while I was working on it, I accidentally solved a UI problem that I have been trying to solve for the last year. And the front end team and the PM team were so excited that they're pushing it into the next milestone. We had this pattern that was very old, that it was 2 columns and had a table and was tabs in a tab, and nobody liked it. So we found the solution and now we're going to fix it. And it was really exciting. And it only happened because I was going through the effort of drafting all of the UI in Figma. So it was a really cool experience.
That sounds cool. You mean you're creating that, like I've seen each of the stage groups are creating the design components in Figma, and like you're doing that for package. Cool.
Could you show what you mean? I'm interested in how it looks.
Yes, I just have to find the right window. Share. Cool. Can you all see my screen? Mandatory check. So right now, when you look at the details of a specific package, we have this kind of table of metadata, and it expands depending on the different package types because they all have different pieces of metadata. And then we have these instructions for installation and registry. And it was just really cumbersome, but there wasn't a good way to break away from that pattern to also be flexible enough to handle all of the different format types. And then we decided to break it apart. And so we took the table and all of the things that were related to dates or events to do with the package, we moved it into an activity feed, which is what users wanted to see anyway, because they wanted to know if a pipeline built it or if it was the result of a merge commit request or a MR. So that was really exciting. And then we used the data well that you see in the commit UI to just kind of shove the rest of the data that's details further down because most of our users didn't care about it. And what this finally means is that the package registry UI can now fit into the like nice single column layout that the rest of GitLab works towards. And we can make all of these changes without needing to interact with the backend at all, which makes my team very, very happy.
Awesome. I love the activity widget. Looks really cool. Curious though, what happens if that grows too long?
So what I showed in that screen is all of the events that can possibly happen to a single package. If any other event were to happen or you were to make a change, it would result in a new package being built. So that's all of it.
Smart. Cool, love it. Any more questions, Dimitri, on this? Probably no. Sorry, I didn't see if you said something.
Oh. I was shaking my head. It's like
Okay.
now, that's cool.
Okay, cool.
Thanks for showing it, Ian.
Cool. I love it when people show visual stuff. Like, I think we should do it more often. Awesome. Okay. Anything else about the stage groups? Doesn't look like that. Okay, Dimitri, over to you.
Yeah, I mean, mine can potentially be seen as part of the earlier section, but kind of, we had a brief discussion in Progressive Delivery where we noticed that some of our issues are blocked by issues that are more part of a different stage group. And today I was creating some follow-up issues from an issue that I was working on, and some of those issues also fall more into either create or continuous integration, and then it becomes kind of like a similar question where you would say like, hey, this relates to my stage group and the current prioritized features and issues we have been pushing forward. But there are these additional things that need to be done to make the experience complete or to unblock us from moving forward. And I was just wondering, how are you tackling, and to give a little premise, like the discussion basically resulted in, we can only ask inside an issue, bring in product managers, bring in engineering managers, kind of try to push it forward with basically some discussion. So it's going to be a little bit of an exception process. And I was wondering, like, do others do that the same way, or have you had success with a certain way of pushing things forward or making them aware that they need to be prioritized, not just because of your own ideas and direction and vision, but also because of your, the other stage groups? Anyone can go.
So that was a question, right, to the group? Like, if anyone had experience of dealing with similar situation.
Yes, thanks. I'm going to call on someone. Juan, what about you?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. So what you're saying is you need something that you're blocked by, and you want to ask another team to prioritize that, right? Like, that's more or less what you're saying.
Yeah. So say, for example, you have an issue, and in order to make that feature or that issue a reality, there needs to be a change first. For example, I just saying something random here, the merge request widget. But the merge request widget and everything that is that needs to support our enhancement on top of it is for sure part of Create.
Got it, yeah.
So now that kind of like that effort falls outside of our stage group, and we could do it ourselves, but that means that our engineers will need more time to do the same, and we potentially might conflict with existing plans inside of that other stage group.
I think that's a good example because that's the one that I was thinking about when we were doing some small changes in the MR widgets. We had to talk with Secure because Secure also has a stake on the MR widgets. And then we had to interface and like basically try to figure out like, hey, like, are you blocked by this? Do you want me to unblock you on this? You know, like basically try to figure out if we are blocking something or if they are blocking us in something, and then find a way to prioritize. But in like full transparency, I don't think it was great when we did that. I mean, I think like it worked because we basically figure out what was blocking us and where we were blocking them. And I don't think we made a lot of changes out of that, but at least we were fully synced on what was the status of their work and what was the status of our work. So for me, it was good because I knew that, like, I, for instance, know that Secure doesn't have plans of working on the MR widgets like in the 2 or 3 releases. So that gives me enough time for me to say like, okay, see, if they're not gonna touch that in the next 3 releases, then I'm not gonna touch it, because like what we wanna do with the MR widgets is probably a joint effort. Like we want to reduce the structure and like maybe like clean up like some major things on the under the hood. So until they don't get to that, we're not gonna get to that, you know. But so that's good because it gives us the ability to sing and know what we're doing and how are we blocking each other. The problem with that is I feel that we're just kicking the can down the road, because it's like, no, I'm not gonna work on it, and like we are like, well, I'm not gonna work on it either, you know. So we just keep pushing. So it's good because we know the priorities of each group, but we're just not forcing each other to prioritize the things that are required to make this work, you know, which is the part that I don't know. So I think that the sync up worked pretty well. Just being able to like see what's their priorities, having that meeting, and like being able to see how we're blocking each other, but then like figuring out how we're gonna unblock each other, like that didn't work out that well.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing, Juan. Dimitri, I also wanted to add, yeah, I think it's important, of course, to address this, like as we see these dependencies, to address them maybe with PMs directly. I'm not sure what you have done exactly, but I see that product managers are quite responsive often even to the things that, you know, that maybe are not their highest priority. Like, for example, check the example of the MR widget contribution again that we've done, basically, supporting the dev create team. I would love helping to be involved in these cases. I can help trying to, you know, kind of like gain more awareness and like try to help prioritizing things. I mean, I'm pretty sure that by explaining the needs, or maybe by discussing and finding some compromises, we could meet somewhere in the middle. Like, saying, hey, we need your team's help with that, but we can do this, etc., etc. So, yeah, I think it's always kind of like a bit of a unique case, depending on which scenario we're talking here about. But I think the main important part is here to involve the responsible parties, like PMs in the first place, and to make sure that we kind of like start the negotiation at least. Hopefully we can find some understanding, and I'm always happy to support here.
Yeah, thanks. That helps. I was just, mostly, you know, you always like to assume there's potentially a, you know, like, I can just use this existing process and let's align it like that. But, you know, often it's not that need. But thanks so much. I think that PMs and UX managers can certainly help visualize those things. I'm not currently like in like a precarious position But when that is the case, I'll certainly take that into mind and surface those things a little bit more clearly.
I think the key word which Nadia just mentioned is negotiate, because that's what it is. Like no PM wants to drop their backlog priorities for the sake of. I mean, we all know that we want to collectively work towards the common good of GitLab, but each PM has their own agenda. They have their own plans with their, like when it comes feature wise, they already have their capacity plan and everything. So I think it's just a matter of like, hey, is there some wiggle room somewhere where you can add, where you can work on these in the next 2 or 3 releases so we can get a block on these. So I think it's just more a matter of like approaching it like how can you get a little bit out of the team that is blocking you.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, Hannah. All right, Juan, over to you. If Dimitri, if you feel like that answered the question.
Yeah, I think that's a good point by Juan. I'll take it into mind. Thanks for that feedback, Juan.
All right, so mine is just kind of like a very brief thing, but so in testing, there was this feature that was planned, but we keep like basically delaying it, like release after release. So it was kind of simple from the perspective of what it was. It was adding a button to an MR widget based on like certain conditions. So I went and I did all the work, like the front end and back end work, and I learned a lot. I mean, I learned a lot about the code and I learned a lot about many things, but I think that the most important thing that I learned was the process of like end to end, because I have done like many MRs in the past that involve like backend as well. So I already knew how to like interact with backend developers and all that review and everything. But since this one was more thorough and it had like more intricate pieces, I think I learned a lot about like how it works and how how that process relates to the design process and how we can make better whatever we are designing, how we can make it in such a way that like it facilitates that process, I feel. So I learned a lot of things there, and I was thinking that I could do something. I could do a video. I was thinking I could record that, but I'm also open to, like if someone wants to ask me things about the process. I saw an issue, or isn't an Epic? I don't know. It's a KR maybe, where like it's about like getting our hands more dirty so we learn the process. So I think it kind of like it's related to that as well. So I might add this MR example to that KR, and then I don't know. I just thought it was important to share it.
Definitely. Please do add that, and I think having a video is a great idea. As I'm saying, we are as we hear, we're having this discussion. Also remember what Sid mentioned during one of our UX group conversations. He mentioned that it would be great if we as designers would feel empowered or could do, or or would have time to go and fix those little changes that we could do ourselves in the code. I know that not every designer is open to getting their hands dirty with the code, but for those who do, I think this is an incredibly useful experience. And I know this is probably a time-consuming process, but it's great that you're doing that, and thanks a lot for that. So the more you share, the better.
Yeah, I want to share because I think I learned a lot about the process, and there was like a lot of back and forth, like little details that have nothing to do with the design, but that like now why like things get delayed. I don't know. I think it's important to share it, like maybe from the perspective of a designer who can articulate it in a more designer way than maybe a developer just explaining things, So I'll do that. I'll put that in my to-dos.
Thanks for sharing, Juan. Full stack, Dimitri says. Cool. Hayana, I added this item, sorry, on your behalf, but I thought that's an interesting process, your MR that you're working on, the collaboration between UX and engineering and release management. Do you want to vocalize some of it?
I'll try. My connection is super unstable, so let me know if I don't make any sense. Yeah, so I'm trying to document more and more this processes in the handbook, and I've been receiving a lot of questions about how we collaborate in the release management team, and I just wanted to highlight here some of the steps that we follow. Not really into detail, because if you look at the product designer process and workflow, it's pretty much there. But the three things that I wanted to highlight that within our team, for us, it's super important to provide the guidance and facilitate design discussions before issues are ready for development. And I briefly discussed this, I think last week or the week before with Dimitri. I think you folks also discussed about planning today. So how we facilitate these discussions, how do we have these conversations? For example, now we just had a sync, Jackie, our PM, Jake, he's a front-end engineer, to just go over an epic and go over every issue and just align the goals and see if everyone is on the same page. And of course, communicate early and often. And review merge requests locally. I think those are the three main things that we've been doing over the past 2 or 3 milestones that really improve the collaboration. And when I say that is we merge and we also define the scope of the merge of the issues much quickly and easily. So there's less review time. The front enders, I think they're also, I feel they're much more confident in making decisions because they are really part of the design process. And another thing that we record this discussion. So if you're interested to see, yeah, what we talked about, there's also a link to the unfiltered video. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks, Nadia, for adding the topic.
Thanks for sharing. We are discussing this question quite often, and I thought that would be interesting to add. So yeah, I think it's also like nice heads up item if anyone will want to like exchange experiences with Hayana, you know where to go, and the other way around. Cool. Vitika, you're typing something. Do you want to vocalize or?
Yeah, sure. So I mean, I'm not like full throttle into my work yet, but this is the approach that I'm also trying to take. So I have these small meetings with the developers, the front-end developers especially, to discuss about the issues and merge requests when the discussions are getting too complex. And that's really helping me because they talk about, like in a meeting, it's much easier to discuss about all the aspects, whereas we wait for follow-ups when we are awaiting someone's comment on our comment. So yeah, and recording is something that didn't occur to me, but yeah, it could be really useful if we have a structure to those discussions as well.
Cool, happy to hear that's also happening and helpful. Awesome, Ian, over to you.
Yeah, talking about some cross-stage work, we are partnering with the Configure team. They're going to try to produce a registry to hold Terraform modules, which is infrastructure as code. It's been really exciting because A, it's cool to work with another stage that I've never worked with before. That's just awesome. But it's also really validating because the way we've designed the package registry is flexible enough that it can take on this whole new data type without a lot of redesign or a lot of rework, which means we can deliver a consistent user experience. We have a lot of components that are going to be the same back and forth. And it means that as we make updates and move forward, that we can have kind of a grander scale impact that can improve the experience. So it's been really nice to work with Maria on that and see it expand, not just because of our team, but a different team. That's it. Over to Juan.
Yeah, so mine is about the MR widgets language. So I'm working the issues there, but basically we're trying to clean up that language this is a change that it's very easy, but the challenge is more on what's the correct language for all those MR widgets. And I know there's people here who have staked on the MR widgets. Like so far, what we have is basically the testing and the secure ones, but there's also all the merge request ones at the top, like the ones that say like the pipeline fail and all that stuff. So I look at the language of those, and that language looks good to me, but I mean, there's probably always room for improving. So if you guys can look at that issue and maybe chime in, or if you have thoughts about the language of the MR widgets, please, yeah, please bring that feedback.
Are you working on this already, Juan? With?
Like designers or?
Like technical writers are also involved?
Yeah. So Marcel should be involved. I involved Suzanne because like I have been working a lot with her, but she probably, yeah, I think she pointed that to Marcel. And I also brought Russell from Secure into that. And then I tag a bunch of people. So I'll just try to coordinate so everyone knows what's going on. But I want eyes on the issue, so like no one, so anyone who needs to like voice an opinion about this can, because I feel that there's gonna be some contention in like the language, especially there's things that are very developer specific that I think that I have opinions on them, but maybe my opinion, it's not necessarily the opinion that matters. So I wanted the writers to be, you know, the writers to actually get the input from the developers if possible. So I put this on my own testing, on the testing group channel and everything. Yeah, it's the challenge. I mean, I want to reiterate, the challenge is coming up with the right text for everything, like the corrections, you know. Changing these things is not hard. So yeah, if you have feedback, please leave it on the issue.
I see you dealing with something similar. Do you wanna?
Yeah, I mean, I have, in fact, today I had started to catch up on this because Dimitri and I talked about this, and I was waiting on meeting with Tao to begin on this, but it couldn't happen. So I myself started. It's pretty complex. It's about what kind of messages users are exposed to once they submit the MR. So even though there's no intervention needed from the user's side, they see that this message that says you can only merge once the items above are resolved. So from the description, it seems like the solution would be pretty simple, and it's just like switching this message to something else. But as you go deeper into the discussion that follows in the issue, it's a very complex issue because there are many backend hurdles. Like there's a bunch of scenarios that which are not easily differentiable in the backend. And so it's not very simple to just provide different messages for them. So this is being dealt in an MR, which I've also linked in the comment. And in the MR, with the help of Marcel, Frederick is trying to come up with a generic message that serves all three scenarios, the major scenarios that you want to deal with. But yeah, this is also about the messaging.
Yeah, totally. I get it. So yeah, that's super helpful. And I'm gonna look at the MR. I think that I'm gonna basically link that issue to my issue. So one important thing there is just to have that consistency in the language, like in the tone and everything. I think the writers are pretty aware of that, so that's why they are involved. But yeah, it's good to have that context as well. So yeah, I'm gonna look into that one.
All right.
Cool. Thanks both. Hayana, over to you.
Yeah, so last week I finished the low fidelity prototypes for the CI/CD group dashboard. This is a cross-stage feature with pretty much every stage that has a dashboard because we have so many. And we are at this stage where we want to just put the data available, like make it available on the interface. And on the second phase, we are going to try to align the dashboards with the vision for dashboards across GitLab. So this is now a P2, it's not my priority anymore for the rest of this milestone. But then again, if you folks are interested, if you're working on dashboards, let me know, because I would love to get your feedback there as well. And I think, yeah, I'm the next one again.
Question. Sorry for interruption. Did you involve some other stage groups into this as well? Like, I know you mentioned that you worked with Andy. Was it Andy or who was, or Nick? Sorry,
Exactly. So that's Nick is from analytics, and Maria from Configure. She also mentioned that they're working on this. I don't remember exactly how she called the dashboard, and secure, because security dashboard. It's very important, and in a way, it's the one that looks the most complete. But for now, we are not going to align on the general user experience or standardizing this dashboard, because we want to deliver something first. And then with Jackie, I think next milestone, we are going to look again and try to realign and see where dashboards at GitLab are moving towards.
Thanks. Okay. Thanks. Yeah, I see.
And on user research, I'm planning some interviews to validate the prototype for group releases. We want to solve the problem of our customers that want to have the ability to associate the multiple code bases, so from different projects that belong to a single group, so that they can orchestrate releases, right? And also track the deployments and the whole thing. That also goes back to my previous topic about the CI/CD group dashboard, is to provide that visibility across multiple projects and hundreds and thousands of deployments, etc. So if you're interested to shadow some of these interviews, because especially for Verify, that really it's the last part of our workflow, I think will be interesting to gain these insights. So let me know, and yeah, I can try to send you the invites. And Dimitri, do you want to vocalize your comment?
Yeah, I'll vocalize my point. I think it's a great idea. I already saw some interviews from Lori, which I was considering joining, but then they have to make sense with my schedule. So there's this UX research calendar where you basically, what I've done with internal interviews, I have invited the UX research calendar in my existing appointment. However, with external participants, it is less easy, because then you would kind of expose the email of these external participants unnecessarily. So there's some additional process involved there. But the idea is that if you add them to this calendar, it will kind of pop up for everyone. If you're interested, you can read about like the topic at hand. You can easily join if you want to. You see the exact time, who is a researcher, etc. So I think it's very worthwhile if you post them there, and it will make it so much easier to kind of, for me at least, safeguard my focus time, which is, at least as I figured it out, one of the biggest contributors to my productivity. Having meetings randomly at all days of the week is not helping me be productive. While if I kind of keep them contained in like days like Tuesdays and Thursdays, it makes me possible to, be stress-free on the other days and just focus on work, and the other days just focus on meetings. So I would love to join the meetings if they kind of fall within that pattern.
Yeah, of course, that's a good reminder, because I think this is a, slightly new process. I don't think last time I did user interviews, we had that, right? No, Laurie. Yeah, for sure. I can add this, and I'll give you folks a heads up in the Slack channel when we have those interviews.
That would be great. And this is for everybody. So I think I need to post it maybe in the manager channel too, Nadia. If I can find the handbook page where I put the MR on. So big. It's there somewhere. But yeah, it's super easy to do. And I highly encourage everybody to do it. Even if you're just having a customer conversation. PMs, I'm going to try to get them to do this as well, because it would be a great way to expose the research to everybody. So mine are on there if anybody wants to hop into any of those merge requests conversations. They've been kind of boring so far, People just love it. I'm like, yeah, but come on, give me some more. The 2 people who hated it had to reschedule till next week. So hopefully next week will be more interesting.
By the way, a related question for you, Lori. Because I've been looking into your Dovetail project for one of those merge requests. I was looking at how you structured it, and kind of came down to that you have your interview notes, and then you have your video recording, and it kind of seems, but like I'll leave it up to you to either say yes or no, or give some explanation that you kind of prefer the interview notes over the recording, like the transcription. Like where would you reference most likely to? Because then you have both the interview notes and the thing, and they kind of talk about the same thing. Like, are you going to make references to both?
I had two of my first participants had really different accents that I'm not used to hearing. So it was hard for me to take good notes all the time with them. And I also know that transcription services sometimes have difficulty with accents as well. So I was trying to take notes, and I'm just going to go back and look at the transcription to see how good it did. I, as a researcher, I can't stop typing. If I just need to type notes as I talk to people, I can't stop it. So I just went ahead and did that first. And then because I got the video after, I just put that in as another little data, I don't know what you call those little sections, a video section, and then did the transcript. So it's in no particular order other than the order that I got the data in, because I talked to them first and then I rendered the video. So you guys can do it any way you want. There's no hard and fast rule. We cannot set up a template we can't set up more than one template. I'll put it to you that way. And the only templates we can set up is that project landing page. It's up to everybody to set up their projects the way that they want to when it comes to like the data columns and stuff. So it's the first time for me to use it. So far, so good. I need to go back in, I think maybe early next week, and start tagging some stuff. I haven't done that yet. So we'll see. All right, I got the next point. So starting around the 20th of July, I'm going to have to shift my focus to the CI adoption journey, whatever research. Andre and I met with Jason this morning, my time, about it to get an understanding from him. And it's still a very big thing. So Andre and I are going to start to try to chip away at what this is going to be. But long story short, it's going to take me some time, and I'm going to have to start backing away from some of the weekly meetings that I've been going to. And off the top of my head, I think, Hayana, I'll probably back off of going to you and Jackie's meeting. You guys are pretty good. You don't need me necessarily to be there every week. And I'll probably stop going to one with James for testing, because you guys don't really need me that much at the meetings. But I don't want you guys to think that you can't reach out to me. So if you do need me to look at a discussion guide, you need me to pop into a meeting, you need me to answer any questions, I'm more than happy to still support you. I mean, it's my job to support you. So please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Just know that I've got to start carving out some time, like Dimitri has figured out, to get his meetings on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I have got to start carving out some time for me to actually tackle this project. It's going to be a big project. I've already socialized the idea that we're going to need like 3 months to do it, because it's going to start with looking at what we know, trying to figure out what we need to know, trying to figure out how to get that information, and then how to present it. And it's just an interesting stage right now. So Andre and I will hopefully have a better game plan after we meet tomorrow. But yeah, I just want to let you guys know. And I'll let the PMs know next week. I'll go to all the meetings and let everybody know.
Thanks for the heads up, Lori. I think that's important. I mentioned, just will vocalize my comment. I talked to Ori today, and she mentioned that there is a COVID-19 wave 2 in Israel. So she will be focusing more on like housekeeping and keeping kids busy basically, because everything is closing down again. So she mentioned that she may need more help. Dimitri, you probably are aware of that. But yeah, kind of like Dimitri is already taking care of a lot of things. I know that you are also helping Orit with something, so maybe we need to make sure that we have some support there, but we can discuss that also, just an FYI here.
Yeah, and I think at the end of the day, we're only human, so some things we just have to push. You know, this is how it will have to be. You know, I don't advocate for anybody working over our allotted time. So we'll just see how we can balance things. And maybe if we can automate some stuff. I know Catherine, I think she did push her MR somewhere to the handbook about doing unmoderated stuff in Qualtrics. So maybe we can start looking over that and seeing how we can employ some of it if it's applicable to what we need to learn.
Cool. Thanks
Ian?
a lot.
My thing isn't as cool as all of that. So we're doing solution validation for the remote and virtual registries, which is normal solution validation, which is really awesome. But one of the cool things we're doing, Emily is going to experiment a little bit with including the TAM team and some sales organization to help us recruit participants. For us on the package team, this is uniquely awesome because the features we're testing, we've been told repetitively, are the features that are blocking larger organizations from using GitLab's package registry. So it's kind of cool that user research can lead a really sales-oriented or have a sales-oriented impact of validating that, yes, what we're going to produce will solve this problem that big clients are hesitating and stopping them from moving over. So it will be an exciting experiment to see how it goes. We just kicked it off earlier this week, and with the holiday, I don't know if it's going to happen next week or the week following, but I'm hoping it goes pretty quickly.
Added a question, Ian, there. That's cool. That's really, really nice. I think they're always useful, those two, yeah, how do you say, functional, well, responsibilities, functionalities, roles. How do you get in touch with them? Is that something that Emily helps you with, or you're kind of like free to go and reach out directly?
So Tim is actually the one who reached out directly. So there's been some customers he talked to, and so he opened up issues with the TAM team to figure out how to connect. I don't know the details, that just appeared one day, so I would ask Tim for that. And then on the other side, Emily, it looks like she's going to be pushing through and trying to make that connection as well. So I just kind of sat back and observed the greatness.
Nice.
I feel like there's a project. I'm sorry, Nadia. I was going to say, I feel like there's a project that the TAMs have started that we can use to fill out an issue. Did somebody see that somewhere in the Slack world? To fill out an issue if we wanted to get their help talking to customers. That's how they were going to manage all of those requests. So I wonder if Tim did that.
There is definitely an issue. I'm trying to hunt it down in the many issues that I have in all the many tabs that I have open. I'll add it to the agenda once I find it, of how we formalize that connection.
Cool. Thanks for sharing. Looking at the time, Vitika, over to you. If Ian, anything else that you want to add? Thanks a lot for sharing. Vitika, over to you.
So I think I have my question answered, but if someone wants to add to it, I am starting a UX scorecard exercise for creating parent-child pipelines for the first time. And I was just wondering, like, how do people recruit internally or externally users to interview or run the research with? And I see Hayana has commented with something, and if someone wants to add, they can just leave their comment there.
Awesome. Good question. Thanks for asking for help. Hayana? No, nobody wanted to say something else. Cool. Thanks for reaching out for help, Vitika. Yeah, I'm sure many people can be helpful here. Yeah, Dimitri, over to you then.
Yeah, just a small for your information. In PD, we did a ideation whiteboard practice. I think we can all agree that it is kind of hard to do those kind of things in a remote setting. My idea with this is to kind of make it more of a regular thing, to kind of take away that uncomfortableness and try it out different things. Anyway, feel free to check it out. I'm thinking of how to follow up after the last one. So if you have any ideas, I'm all open ears. I do have a plan regarding like opportunity solution trees. That is kind of like a certain exercise which I'm following, and based on that, there's some tasks to do. But I'm open to any feedback you might have. So
Thanks,
leaving
Dimitri.
anything open there.
I've heard really positive feedback from Orit already about the session. So thanks a lot for taking the lead on that. Cool. If then my item is the last one that we have in the list, and it's kind of like other, and I posted that in Slack as well. But just a quick reminder, because we've been discussing that in between the UX leadership team. I know that we have been noticing that some of the team members from the UX department are like taking really little time off, and just two reasons could be there: is or we are not using the PTO Ninja for booking the holidays, or you peeps are not taking the vacation. So for those who haven't been on vacation for some time, I strongly encourage to take some staycation, vacation. Yeah, just make sure that you get yourself a little bit of a break and refill your powers. That's also very, very important, especially in these weird times like right now. If anyone has any questions around the PTO Ninja usage, I linked the handbook actually in the Slack. Or feel free to reach out to me. I'll help out with that.
Does anyone know how to check how much PTO have you take ever with PTO Ninja?
You can use the PTO Ninja, and then I think it's like one of the drop-down menu options. I just did it today because I was curious. But you don't feel like it, I don't know. I think it counts what you've got for this year, and then there's another drop-down, you can go to last year.
Oh, I see it now. Oh, out of office history, maybe?
I think so, yeah. And the default's to this year, but you can look at last year's if you want it.
Yeah, got it. Okay, cool.
And if you want to see, I think, the source of truth, because it also counts the sick leave, we go to Bamboo HR, because everything from PTO Ninja goes to Bamboo HR.
Oh, nice. That's good to know too.
That's useful to know. I also didn't know. Thanks a lot for that.
I have a question on the PTO agenda. I don't know if anybody knows, but are like national holidays being counted towards the total, or?
It looks like PTO Ninja counts that, and like the Friends and Family Day, it's in sick time, it's counting it all. It looks like, for me at least. So Bamboo HR might be, like Hayana said, better to look at.
If you want,
because that kind of skews, right? Like, you go ahead.
Yeah,
sorry.
You see it zeroed. So if you have a national holiday, it shows there, but it doesn't really count as time off. Like, you still have the hours.
I have been always a little bit confused with the national holidays concept with GitLab, because since we are, I mean, in other companies that I work for, like they were like American based, so like if there's national holiday, then you just take it. But I mean, 4th of July doesn't mean doesn't mean anything for most people in this call, right? Like that's a fact. So I feel that I should take it because like most people take it, but then I feel that if I take it, then basically I just get behind, you know, because everyone, like 60 or 70% of the people that I'm working with are gonna work that day. So that's one GitLab thing that I always had like trouble with, and I don't know, like people have thoughts about that, but I just wanted to verbalize that.
Well, hey Juan, first of all, want to say that you should not be feeling this way. The feeling of getting behind should not be staying in the way of you not taking the holidays. I mean, it's impossible to always be on top of things, right? And like, don't get that feeling get deep into your head, because that will lead you to the burnout. And people take holidays, people get behind a little bit, then we catch up, and it's all goes. That's a normal cycle. That's first.
Yeah, no, I get that. I think I was more curious about how people approach holidays in general. You know, like if it's a national holiday, you just take it. I mean, that's maybe like the question that.
That's what I do. Yeah, I mean, If it's a national holiday here in the US, most people in the US will be off because they'll get it off from their employer. So I'll take it off. But the ones that are hard for me, one, are like those bank holidays, like Columbus Day is a problem, but Columbus Day, the banks have it off, but not everybody else has it off. So
Right, got it.
I
Okay.
might take it off or I might not, because I worked at a bank before and we had it off. It was nice to have a
Yeah.
day off in October, but
Right.
you know, you can make your own personal holidays.
Yeah,
Like
no, I
that's
get
the
it.
nice thing about this. Like you don't have to take the national holiday off if you don't feel like you want to do that, but you certainly
Yeah.
can.
Yeah. No, I kind of like just want to establish like a baseline, and I think the baseline is like take the federal holidays and then like you can build on top of that.
Yeah,
Yeah, if that would
I
make
agree.
you feel comfortable. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Like, yeah, that was the thing that originally, like, that kind of sparked this point for me. Like, this PTO and Ninja kind of counts it all, if that is true. So we are often recommending to GitLab employees, please take at least 20 or 25 days off. But we need to consider that those 20 to 25 days off in a normal job are on top of all the national holidays, because those are not counted towards that total, right? So if we take, for example, the Netherlands, I do not know how many we have, but probably around 12 days or something. So that means that we have 37 being the minimal and not just 20 or 25. And like, personally, I don't take off on national holidays most of the time because I just want to set my own days. Like, I don't care for some of them, while others are amazing. So I want to take free, but like, I just rather take advantage of not having to take the day off because for some reason it's national holiday.
Yeah. It's all up to you personally. Like, again, we are, you are free to take as much time off as you need, and it's up to you what pattern you pick. So if anyone has any specific questions, that I could go and reach out to Rose, our HR, and our people business manager, and she will answer all of our questions. So if there are any other questions that yes, Hayana, exactly. It's also all in the handbook. Hayana put some of the words here, but also if there is anything more specific or detailed, let me know. We can definitely reach out and get that investigated. Alrighty, I don't want to keep anybody over the time. Thanks a lot for such an active session. I love all of these topics, so much cross-stage discussions, and thanks everyone for sharing the updates. I speak to you soon. Have a good day.